Sir, that's Johnny Horton, and Johnny Horton Jr. Was just locked up this week on some charge. Not only that, but they were rounding up illegal aliens, as the Constitution tells us should. When the government fails to protect our borders and not do their job sufficiently, it's the duty of the people to protect the borders and the nation. I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth and that's the fact. And these guys are doing what the government can, rounding them up and helping out. They're doing it on their dime, on their time, and they're not asking for any assistance. Well, they are asking for some assistance. They could use some assistance. And if there is some assistance being asked for, we will get that information tonight. But without further ado, I want to bring in our guest, Jim Benvie. He's down in the New Mexico area. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Jim, what's happening, Jim?
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Good. Sorry about the delay. I usually have a little monologue and play a song and stuff. But Johnny Horton Jr., that's his dad's song. I don't know if many know that. I don't know if too many people know that in the Patriot community, that Johnny Horton's father was a star in the 50s and 60s as a singer and a musician.
Yeah, he was. And Johnny Horton Jr. himself did some singing. You can go on YouTube if you want to check out his videos.
Yep.
He's got some music there that he did as well with some different people. But can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, we've got an issue down on the border, and I'm sure all of you are aware. President Trump declared a national emergency a long time ago.
Yep.
And he's been warning the country that we have a serious problem. And so a few people decided that they were going to go down and check out and see if the problem was real or not. Because the left has made it a point through fake news to tell us that we don't have a crisis on the border, to tell us that it's all just some kind of a figment of our imagination.
Right.
And so therefore they made it about a border wall, Trump's vanity wall, everything but addressing the actual issue of what's actually happening at the border. And so a few of us got together. We went down there. Most of the group is ex-veterans. Some are special forces. Some are served regular infantry. And we even have some retired law enforcement involved in the group. And so we have people that are more than qualified, more than trained to actually work on the border and to, keep the group safe, as well as keep the illegal immigrants safe, as well as be able to back the Border Patrol if necessary. And as well as, obviously if anything breaks out on the border, if there's any violence or anything like that, people who are familiar with combat situations. And hopefully that day never comes. But I'll tell you what, the way things are going, we're now getting confirmed reports that men with guns are showing up escorting the migrants now.
Yeah, I
so
guess.
the level of aggravation at the border is reaching a whole new level just in recent days.
Right, I guess there's a video of, through a night scope camera, of some heavily armed cartel members, I would guess, transporting people across vast open areas in the darkness. Folks, most of these operations occur at night. They are smuggling these people under the cover of darkness. And the ones that are traveling under the cover of darkness are the ones with something to hide. And that's the ones that these guys are rounding up. They're not standing out there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They're out there at night, rounding these guys up. Tell us what happened prior to Johnny getting arrested. There was a group of guys. You had made a film of that, weren't you filming that night?
Yeah, well, see what we were doing is we met with the police department out there in Sunland Park, and we let them, we basically had a meeting about what we were doing, and we they went through what you can and can't do, and we talked to Border Patrol to see what they would like us to do and how they would like us to participate. Okay, obviously we don't want to get in the way of their operations, and I'm sure they don't want us in their way. Okay. And so, through a series of figuring things out, we set up a base camp called Camp Liberty in Sunland Park, New Mexico. And it's an area that's about two football Mexico, you can step into the United States. It's relatively simple to cross the border. Where we're at also along that sector of the wall is Napa, Mexico. Now, just for those of you that don't know, Napa, Mexico is in that section there is an area of the border that even the Mexican police very rarely frequent. And the reason is because it's mostly cartel operations, stash houses, smuggling houses, rape houses, etc. Anything you can imagine goes on behind the wall right on the U.S. border. That's kind of like their staging area. It's the last time they see the migrants before they cross into the United States. And it's the area where a lot of the coyotes are constantly doing their surveillance and running their missions to get drugs and to get people through at different points, at different times of day and night. And so we decided that we needed 24-hour eyes and ears on the border. And so a lot of these guys, myself included, we came down, we basically gave up our civilian lives temporarily and decided to try to document the crisis on the border and try to get it out to the people what wasn't being seen. The story that the media is not telling.
Right.
And so we started posting live Facebook videos of what we were encountering, sometimes with Border Patrol, sometimes without Border Patrol. We wanted to show people who was coming here, that it in fact was not just Latinos, not your typical Mexican border crossing. This is an invasion of 50 different countries. These are people that are coming from all over the world. This is very organized. There's no way that 10,000 people from here, there, and there all just decided one day that they were going to invade the United States of America. And I do call it an invasion. I maintain it's an invasion. I call it a silent invasion. Now I've been called a racist and a fascist and everything
white
under
supremacist,
the book, a vigilante. Yeah, okay.
Look at me, I got my hat.
If you're listening to this, we're being invaded. Okay.
Completely.
So that being
completely invaded. It's crazy what's going on. It's absolutely amazing what I'm witnessing.
It is.
I don't know if you know, Jim, but I've been covering this, and this is for a long time, and this is the first report I'm getting from New Mexico. I've been all over San Diego and California with reports, and Arizona and Texas, as my friend Rusty lives on the river there in Brownsville, Texas. His property line is in the river. But this is my first report from New Mexico, which is kind of shocking because nobody's talking really about New Mexico anywhere in this debate. So this is very important, I believe.
It's interesting because, getting back to the point that we're being invaded. So we're down there, we're making these videos, and we're sharing them on Facebook, and we're not trying to promote a group. We're not trying to do anything. We're trying to show just here's what's happening. And we try to get the people on Facebook encouraged into sharing the videos. Share this with your friends. Maybe they're a liberal, maybe they're a Republican, maybe they disagree, but they at least need to see the truth about what's happening. They need to be aware of what's going on our border. And one of the things that a lot of people are not aware of is that our Border Patrol is strapped to a level that is jeopardizing the national security of the United States.
Right.
And what I mean by that when I say that is that when you have a group of 200 or 300 people come into an area, the number of agents that are on shift at that time, the number of vans for processing, even the detainment centers themselves that are only designed for maybe 4,000 people, we're looking at levels of 20 to 30,000 people waiting to be processed at an average of 2 hours apiece. And in that, you have some people that have medical needs, so the Border Patrol is being used to take them to the hospital. We have situations where they go to dental appointments, or sometimes they drop them off at different houses and locations where they're then going to get a bus ticket or give them a ride to the airport. Well, this all takes manpower, and it all takes people off the border that would normally, under ideal circumstances, they would be doing counter-drug operations. They would be doing surveillance and intelligence and making sure that it isn't just the asylum seekers coming in, but they would be making sure that the criminals and the terrorists and the people that we really don't want in our country don't get in. And so we basically have a situation where thousands of people coming across the border now on a daily basis. Only 10% of those people actually qualify for what they call legitimate asylum. Okay? In other words, they're running from something real. So then we have a mixture of people that are just coming over here to take advantage of our asylum laws. Okay?
Yeah.
And so the problem with the majority of the people that are coming to take advantage of our asylum laws is that we're kind of deceived as a country when we hear about this processing, because we think that our government has records on all of these people and children coming through here. The fact of the matter is we don't. We know very little about the people, even after they're processed, about who they are and where they'll eventually end up. I mean, they can say, well, they can tell the Border Patrol before they get a ticket, to come back for a 5 or 8 year court date from now. They can give an address, but most likely they won't even end up at that address. They'll disappear into the cracks of society. You'll never know where they are or what they did or who they did or who they are. And so that's one of the problems. Okay, we're not saying everything's bad. I'm not going to throw out crime statistics because I really don't know. The problem is as a nation, we should know who's coming into our country, and we don't know who's coming into our country. So that's one side of it.
Yeah.
The other side of it is that there's a big business with children, and what they're doing is we have, because of our asylum laws, we have pretty much made it impossible for somebody to get thrown out of our country if they come in with a child. And so what people
That was in the last budget.
They are literally, they're renting babies, they're borrowing babies, they're recycling babies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kidnapping going on. There's a new thing that we brought attention to that they started discovering just recently in Texas, and that is that we have these things called fake family units. Okay, and what a fake family unit is, it's where a guy and a girl shows up to the border. They're both single, both want to get into the United States, but they don't have a kid. And so what they do is Mexicans will supply them with a wedding certificate, and then they rent or buy the kid. They get supplied the kid, and then they take a picture, and so they have proof that they're a family, and that's what they use as proof when they come in, because they're not coming in with passports and visas. They're not coming in with birth certificates.
Nope.
So it's created a logistical mess, and we're hurting kids, we're trafficking kids. I don't care what any of these people on the left say, oh, you're not sympathetic to the poor families and children
yes,
that
we
are coming in. No, half of these people are criminals. Half of them are criminals. They're abusing our laws. They're coming in. They don't care about the kids they're bringing in. Okay, I'm not going to say all, because, yes, there are some families that are legit.
Yeah.
But the joke amongst everybody working on the border is that we are being taken advantage of, and the left in this country, the extreme left, is allowing it to happen because they know that the only way they can win the 2020 election isn't by their great candidates. It's by getting these people into specific districts where there's voting, pushing so that as Americans we have to accept votes from illegal immigrants who don't even speak our language, who are still coming to the border flying their own flag, have no interest in assimilating to our culture, okay?
Nope.
We're simply here to take advantage of America. And so, I'm not saying it's the case for everybody, but it's the case for a lot of them. A lot of them they're just here to take advantage. And it's going to cost America. We have way too many people coming in. And the other thing is we're not getting the crime. We had to close down because of this, because of all these people. We have had to close down all of our roadway checkpoints that you guys, any of you who've driven along the border highways, you know what I'm talking about. It's where you pull in and they ask if you're a U.S. citizen. They scan your car to see if maybe you're potentially smuggling drugs or some other thing that you're not supposed to do. Those are all closed. Those are gone. Those people are all now down on the border assisting with processing. A few of our ports have taken a lot of the custom agents out of the port of entryway, and those agents are being used for processing. And so we have a situation where everybody is just literally strained, but yet there's no crisis, okay? This governor in New Mexico, one of the first things she did when she got into office is she immediately removed the military, the National Guard, from the border, even though the previous governor had deployed them there and still maintains the position that we have a national emergency on the border. Okay?
We do.
This is important to understand, because it wasn't until our group was putting out 2 or 3 videos a day showing people crossing the border in larger numbers, and then we started showing videos of large groups of hundreds crossing the border. And for some reason, that's what did it. Those videos started going viral. They started going all over the internet, Instagram, Facebook, and then all of a sudden, I call them the American Criminal Liberties Union, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, the ACLU,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
They decided to write a fictitious story charging us with not only being racist, fascist, kidnapping, basically rogue renegades with guns who were breaking and violating the rights of illegal immigrants under the orders of a racist president. Okay, and we had been influenced by that. And then what they did is they wrote this letter to the governor of New Mexico, demanding that there be a criminal or some type of investigation in shutting this deal down where we are at in Sunland Park there. And so the governor came out and she was just, oh my gosh, this is horrible. These guys are rogue, they're renegades. We cannot have people harassing and interfering civil rights violations on people, you keep in mind, illegally crossing the border. They use the word migrant or undocumented migrants. No, they're criminals when they cross in illegally. I think that's still a law. I think that's still the way it is. If you enter a country illegally, it's illegal. Now, it's not my job, and nor is it my place as a civilian to determine whether you have a legitimate asylum claim or whether you're a criminal or whatever you are. That's not my job. I'm not a law enforcement officer, okay? That's for law enforcement to do their job. But we do have a mission as civilians to observe and report what we see at the border.
Well,
one of the things that we do...
I got to tell you, Jim, the Constitution is pretty clear on this issue. When the government can't protect the borders, it's the job of the people. It's clear. You can find it in Article 4.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And it's sad. It's a sad thing, but we have to walk the very fine line. And our fine line is this. As long as we don't physically touch them, as long as we're not holding them against their will, as long as we are obviously, we turn them over to Border Patrol, we do what we do. It's a very non-violent thing, okay? There's no violence in it. There's nothing. We don't point guns at little kids. We don't nothing.
Right.
And I'm saying this for a reason, okay? What we're armed with is we're trying to arm the American people with the truth, so that if they have the truth of the situation, that the story that the Border Patrol can't tell, they can't. Border Patrol agents would love to video this stuff themselves. They would love to go to Facebook and show America, but guess what? They can't do that, okay? That's part of their job. They would get fired. They would be gone, okay? So we're trying to express to America, this is what's going on, and the Border Patrol needs help. The other thing is, at any point in time, if something was to happen to a Border Patrol agent, these guys are out there by themselves, assuming, let's say, in an instance, they get hit with 300 people at 2 o'clock in the morning, and, one can just say, and I would love to ask the governor of New Mexico this, is how can you guarantee that everybody coming through that border is just, a group of 300, everybody in there, they got their bags, they got their luggage, that none of them are armed and none of them have evil intentions? How do you guarantee that, Governor? Okay? Because you're assuming that one man in a truck for 15 minutes is going to be able to just maintain large invasions of groups of people. I don't think you can guarantee that. I don't think the governor can guarantee that. I know she can't guarantee that. Okay? But the fact is, at least if we got people there to kind of help and look out for the places that the Border Patrol can't cover because they're dealing with taking people to the hospital and there's no backup, they felt a little better about us being out there. And again, I keep saying this, we need more people down on the border to do exactly what we're doing, which is observing, reporting, and assisting in ways that we can as citizens. Right. I would love to say that as citizens, and we do have that right, but as it is, we're walking a fine line. Here's what happened, so I can get to the rest of the story.
Right.
Is we put this video out, and all of a sudden, so the ACLU writes this letter to the governor of New Mexico. She tells the attorney general, okay, we can't have this. Now, I think the reason for this had nothing to do with more than the fact that people were shocked by seeing large numbers of people. In other words, you can put out a number, you can say, 100,000 people crossed last month. That's not as powerful in the mind of the public as actually seeing it, okay? They're seeing it and going, is this the United States? Is this really happening in the U.S.? And a lot of people freaked out. I mean, it was a group of 300 people. That's nothing. But people were shocked that 300 people came through at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was relatively easy. Okay?
Why would they be shocked?
And so now people are going, wait a minute, what's going on down there? Are we being invaded? Okay? So Mrs. Governor, who still will not support her state and the counties who've recently declared a crisis in their counties, who right there in the New Mexico, El Paso sector that she's a part of, okay, is bringing in hundreds and thousands of illegal immigrants. The Border Patrol is screaming for help at the top of their lungs, and she refuses to acknowledge it. So we start showing this, okay, those guys got to go. We can't have videos like that floating around, okay?
Yeah.
So they go ahead and they decide, okay, we've got to find a reason that this group of people that they have labeled everything from vigilantes to sick individuals pointing guns at kids, blah, blah, blah. All right, well, they've got to go. We got to get them out of there. We can't have these videos. And so they decided that they were going to look for something, okay? Well, they didn't find nothing, okay? And so what they had to do is they had to dig real deep. And they had to find something that for whatever reason, 2 years ago, there was an incident with Commander Horton that the FBI came in apparently. They found guns in his house. I guess they belonged to his wife. And whatever happened there, and I don't know the details of what happened there. I wasn't there. But whatever happened, it was back in 2017. And they didn't charge it. Okay? So all of a sudden, this crime that they didn't charge back in 2017, they come magically the next day to camp, and they arrest Mr. Horton. He's a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran who was out there, sitting out there next to the cartel with us at night, camping in camp, answering the phone calls, making sure that the guys had what they needed so they could go out and do what they do. He didn't carry a gun. He was out there serving and doing what he could do to get the message out that we got a crisis on the border. Okay?
Yeah.
So now they come the next morning, they arrest him, they throw him in jail, and that's all the governor wanted. She wanted that photo op, she wanted that arrest, she wanted to make it out like, oh my God, these are the people we thought they were. It doesn't matter whether Johnny Horton is innocent or guilty in the mind of the governor. We believe that he's guilty. Our attorney believes, or not guilty. Our attorney believes that he'll overcome this. That this will not be a chargeable offense. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter. They put the hit out. They got what they wanted, the optics of the arrest. And so what they're doing now is instead of focusing on the crisis on the border, they're focusing on how they can destroy organizations, and it's not just us. They've now attacked another group that's in Arizona, okay, called the AZ Patriots, which is also a group of volunteers that are doing similar things. They're now calling them racist and using the same lingo.
And they went after them. They're going after them in California too.
Yes. And they're going after some of our other friends at Border Network News, Anthony and Oscar, who's over in Mexico doing live reporting. They don't want the truth to get out because they are part of this scam to to invade the United States of America. And I'm telling you, I'm telling everybody here, we have a fight ahead of us. We have a big fight ahead of us. Because as long as those powers that be, governors like the one in New Mexico, are being funded. I don't know if she's getting money from the cartel. I don't know if she's getting money from the liberal organizations that are funding this invasion. I don't know what it is. But she's certainly willing to make moves that are pretty obvious to anybody paying attention. That it's not she wasn't very sneaky in what she did. Okay? And so a lot of America is seeing through the crap. Now, we get a phone call from the New York Times. This guy calls me up, and he explains that the ACL is doing this, and he wants a response, wants to know more about the group. Acts like a nice guy on the phone, okay?
Right.
Really concerned about getting the truth out, okay? He tells me, man, I'm a fact checker. My boys are fact checkers, Jim. I promise you we'll get the story straight. Now, I'm skeptical because I saw how they covered the Russian collusion. They did a shitty job. They lied.
Beep.
Okay? But I give the guy a story. And the next thing I know is in the headline of this story, I believe it was armed vigilantes camped on New Mexico border, pointing guns at women and children in the middle of the night. I believe it was something like that. And I've seen many versions of the same headline. Okay? And these are floating around as if they are facts. These are floating around as if they have some kind of a factual basis that our men are pointing guns at people, okay? Now, this has never been proven. Every video that we've ever done has been a live video encountered, and usually Border Patrol has interacted with the people that we've interacted with at some point in time. Here's a fact. Here's a fact that they're not telling. The fact is that every immigrant that we came in contact with was asked about whether they were going to complain about being pointed at with a gun. Guess what? The answer is no. We have never pointed a gun. That's why nobody was arrested for pointing a gun.
Right.
That's why the chief of police in Sunland Park said they have never pointed a gun. Even the liberal, I think his name is Garcia, who runs the immigrant rights deal down there, is as far to the left as he is. He said, no, this group has never pointed a gun.
Right.
You know, his position is, however, even though they didn't point the gun, we are concerned about the rights of the illegal immigrants coming into the country. Now, I don't know the law, but I will tell you this. Our deal is really simple. We just want the people to sit down. So we say, siéntate, sit down, that means sit. If they obey us, we call Border Patrol. Because now they're not going to be running around aimlessly. They don't know where they're going anyway. They're in the desert. They have kids. They can hurt themselves. Okay? But it gives us a chance to get some video, get an idea of who came into the country, what happened, and it allows one extra set of eyes or two extra set of eyes for the Border Patrol.
Excellent.
Now, you would think that America would be happy that there's people down on the border.
We are.
You'd think that the governor would be like, they'd be down there and go, hey, man, these guys are down there on the border helping out. This is great. We can get more Americans down here. You know, let's do something. And while the country's being invaded. But it is clear to me now, everybody listening within earshot of me, it is clear, beyond a reasonable doubt, that they will not allow us to secure our borders. Okay? I don't think President Trump, without some kind of a drastic move on by the part of the American people, is going to be able to stop this invasion. And America has to step up because this is getting serious. Mexico is very unstable right now. They are full of people from all different countries who have invaded different cities on their way to come to different ports. The cartel in Mexico is making more money than they've ever made in their lives. They're getting anywhere from $1,500 a head to $5,000 a head in some cases, and that doesn't include if you rented a baby.
It was there a...
Not to mention...
What's the story on the 3-year-old kid left out in the desert?
Yes, this happens all the time. They tell you when you're done with the child, when you're done with them, when you're done using the child, or if you don't need the child, get that child within proximity of Border Patrol, write a phone number on his onesie or his T-shirt or somewhere, because here's what Border Patrol's been instructed to do. They can't can't ID the kids even if they're unaccompanied or with their mom. You can't ID the kids. They don't come with nothing to ID them with. So, they call the phone number on the shirt or the shoes or whatever it's written on, and whoever answers that phone, as long as they come down there and grab the child, that's who the child goes with.
Right. And sometimes they leave them out in the desert. One of the things
that... in the desert, they don't need them.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second here. I got to do a little station ID.
You are listening to Patriot Nation Radio Live, 347-637-3942.
Well, like we got a gentleman, he's in the live feed. His name is Shannon. Shannon, please give a ring. Right now we're talking to Jim Benvie. I bring you right in. You can join us. Ask for boots on the ground, give out information and stuff like that so we can get some help out there as much as possible, folks. We have a serious crisis. The crisis is real. This is not a joke. Anytime they say it's a manufactured crisis or there's no crisis, I ask people to please look into the eyes of the angel families. Unfortunately, tonight, Steve Ronnebeck won't be able to join us. He has some last-minute family emergency. But we have possibly Shannon's going to give us a ring. I hope he calls in now. I gave him the number so he can join the show. And also, Jim, we got a gentleman, Rob, who's looking to make some contact with you, I believe, in the live feed. So I think I'll make a little group chat after. Maybe I'll hook you guys up where you can talk and maybe network and try to bring groups together and make these numbers rise, because it's really getting out of hand. Folks, these guys are now coming with weapons to the border. Remember, the shot heard around the world. Folks, it could be right around the corner. It takes one of these cartel guys to shoot across the border and just hit one person.